I just hope, and I'm begging as a parent to not post her actual picture. I know I've said her name in comments, but please don't use her name in any of the like titles.
All right, and I just want to go ahead and throw that in there before we get started. Please do not do that. Like I always say, respect the privacy of outsiders of the internet. The people who have these lives here, they have nothing to do with the internet, nor did they agree to be put out like that. So if you, like I said before, if you know the information, that's one thing, but please do not make the information of private individuals public just to prove a point for to put LTG on blast or whatever. Leave those things separate because they have nothing to do with whatever's going on over here. And in my recommendation to you also, if you have put your daughter's name in any comment sections or anything like that or anywhere, uh, try to go back and remove them when you have the chance. Go and try to go into history and remove any of that if you do not want her name out because we see it, but everybody may not see it. And how the troll thing work, if they see it one place, then they'll start posting it everywhere, and you don't want that, and that's completely understandable as a parent. That's completely understandable as anybody who's not engaged in this internet activity. But let's go ahead and get started. You know how the intro goes. Let's go ahead and cue it up and get it started. Good afternoon. As you know, the side quest has been getting the best. We got to get back where we left off, but this is right in the position where we needed to be. This kind of still falls in the same category.
I just wanted to start off with my personal question is I want to know how you met him, where you met him, and like the whole dynamics of that relationship. Like, so basically a short summary of the timeline of you guys' whole relationship and everything. Like, how was he when you guys were together? What led to the eventual split and things of that nature?
Oh, you may have to guide me a little bit because that's a lot. Okay, let me start from, because I can ramble, and I've said this a million times, but okay, from the beginning, I did actually meet him, like I met him and I talked to him at a party, but it was small. There was just a couple people there. It's, not a big thing. And he's nice. I don't really remember what we talked about, but then later, I don't know how long after that.
Okay, so I don't want to cut her off, too long and do too much cutting in, but what do we always say for people who have even followed his content? Yeah, man, I mean, he started out cool. At first, yeah, he was cool. He was straight. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let her continue.
He actually DM'd me through Facebook.
Dang, bro, you always DMing through Facebook. Like, you never get these people's numbers and talk on their phone. You always get the app. And my thing is, for you, I wouldn't even be saying anything about this, but he's always sitting on his stream talking this high game like he's just this old supreme holla artist, putting on the shades because he has to he has to nerf himself, right? But that's not what we're here. No memes, serious conversation.
And I like video games, but I don't play them. Like, I'm not in the community. I'm not in the gaming world. I just play them, just for recreational. Yeah. So I love the game Borderlands, and I had posted something like on my timeline about Borderlands, and he slid into my DMs, and we started talking about that. So that's how our actual relationship started.
That actually makes a lot of sense, and it proves your validity.
I got you, brother. Validity.
Validated. You know what I mean. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the word right now.
That's okay.
The validation of your identity. I'll just say that. Okay, so we know how you guys met. Now, can you tell me a little bit about like how long exactly were you guys talking, and how long before you guys got serious, if you did get serious?
It never got real serious. We never spoke about like getting married for sure. Okay.
So like he says, backshot baby. And what do I always discuss on this video? And I discuss on these videos all of the time how I always say it. And I'm not saying this to scold them for their behavior, but what I say to give you the realistic situation, because now you see out of all this going on, what has happened. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, and I'm not saying this from a high ground. I'm saying this to do better. Because like she said, she's not lying. She's like, you know, it really wasn't that serious. We were just doing what we're doing. And yeah, people are going to do that. And I'm not here to talk down to you or scold anybody. I'm just here to tell you, you got to make better decisions and not do this. Because see, now this, you know, this child ain't got a father. You know what I'm saying? Now this kid ain't got a father because of decisions of the parents. And people got to be very careful about the decisions they make. If you really don't want to be with that person, it's good not to deal with them at all. If you can't, if something like this happens and you guys can't stand each other, you got to cut it off. And this is one of my biggest things. If it's a situation to where you like each other and maybe you're not 100% sure, but you're like, well, I do like the company of this person. We get along. If pregnancy did happen, you know, I'll be willing to see, you know, try to make it work. That's cool. And if it don't work after that, at least it was a valid effort, or there was a chance for a valid effort to make that work. And I'm not saying she's the one who was the problem. We obviously we know who the problem was. You know what I'm saying? But let me let her continue.
But it was just like dating and like hanging out with each other, getting to know each other, talking and stuff like that. Our relationship pretty much lasted for like 6 months.
So that's about right. Cause when you're looking at it, yeah, you doing whatever they're doing, and then once he hears what he didn't want to hear, then it falls apart. Cause that's what it sound like how it went. Like it was all good that 4 or 5, you know, doing whatever, playing or whatever, and then when it got real, all of a sudden he ain't want nothing to do with it. That's what it sounds like to me, allegedly.
Maybe 7 months. I don't think it was 8 months. I think at one point I said 6 to 8 months, but I don't think it was 8 months because when I found out I was pregnant, it was the beginning of September. And I believe in March, we really started talking. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So yeah, about like 6 months. Somewhere in there. So, yeah, we were never like serious. It was just, you know, getting to know each other. It was very, you know, short.
How did he treat you personally, like throughout the relationship? Were there any moments in a relationship where like you kind of like had any hints of like who he might actually be, like, you know, as far as him being an asshole and all that?
Well, if I've, a couple being in relationships throughout your life, like you kind of realize, you know, what's normal, what's not normal in a relationship.
And when you mature and you grow up, you come to understand that every circumstance or situation in a relationship is not always the other person's fault. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's them, sometimes it's both people, because there's no perfect person in certain situations or scenarios. So that's really all that statement truly means. It's basically to say that yes, there was some off stuff, but I wasn't perfect either. So I also had whatever faults that I had faults too. So to just put it on the other person, it's kind of like I can't do that. That's a part of being a mature adult and understanding that you're not perfect. And for him, yeah, good luck with that.
I don't know. I didn't feel like too much was off. And even if he got upset more quickly with things, I probably just joked about it, because I'm not really that serious of a person. Well, at least back in the day I wasn't. So, I've always been like a jokester and just.
I mean, so far, she seemed pretty cool, pretty laid back, like she ain't really looking for the drama. So, I don't really know why he so much threw that away. And I think a lot of guys had that issue too, where you have somebody, I think people keep looking for the best I can get, the best I can get, the best I can get. Sometimes you're gambling, because there's not a lot of people who may be good for you. Now, that's not to say they might not be good for somebody else, because there's people for everybody. But sometimes you can mess around and throw away somebody who's a really good person over, I just want somebody who look a little bit more like this or a little bit more like that. The best bet is to get as close as possible to the person you want, grow with that person, and develop something that's worth something. Because just finding somebody pre-made exactly how you want them is going to be a commodity. It's going to be very difficult to get this person, because this person most likely would already be taken. You get what I'm saying? Because what you're looking for that's perfect to you, more times than not, won't be available to you. And depending on what you're looking for, it will never be available. It will always be available either to the streets or taken by somebody else who was like, hey, I seen value in this person. Let me go ahead and scoop them up. That's what people don't understand. And if you stay out here playing, you're gonna mess around and put yourself in a position to where it's hard to even find somebody who you can really rock with. Now, as far as the dating economy and how things are today, it's rough. You know, a lot of people stayed out here, played around, messed around, and found out. On top of social media, Instagram, and all of these platforms, and this illusion of all these choices that don't exist for women, it's made a lot of things skewed and unfavorable, and it made a lot of people not have any self-discipline. So again, when I say that blame is out there, it's on both people, because the guys who are in their DMs, you're just as bad. The guys who can get those women who overindulge, you're just as bad as those women who make bad decisions, and you are to blame as well. You can't put all the blame on them, because I guarantee you, if men had the opportunity to choose whatever they wanted, when they wanted, how they wanted, I promise you, they will be doing the same thing that those women they complain about are doing, because that's what happens in power dynamics. When most people get power, they do the same exact thing they complain about, and that's a fact.
Fun. I try to make things fun, but yeah, I don't know if there was ever like a one point in time where I was just like, oh, this guy's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it would be times where he would get angrier than usual, correct?
Well, when I told him I was pregnant, things changed.
Woo! What did I just say? What did I just say earlier in the video? I'm gonna let her go ahead and finish.
How so?
So, well, how do I answer this?
I'm gonna answer it for you. He got cold. He started tripping. He started having an attitude. He started blowing up. He started raging out. Same old same. What you gonna do about it? Just like Fresh. Oh, you can go ahead and go get that taken care of. Same old same. And instead of listening when people tell you stop being out here messing around, and once it happens, now you want to be upset. Now you want to be tripping because you thought it was all about fun and games. Let me let her go ahead and continue.
I don't know how to answer that. It was just different. You know, things were a little bit more kind of light throughout when we were getting to know each other, but once I was pregnant and I told him, it got serious.
Did he ever ask you to get an abortion?
I don't want to answer that.
Ain't gotta be said. We already know. But good answer.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, so from the other interview, I heard that you didn't put him on child support right away, correct?
Yeah, the first time was in, I don't know the exact date, 2023, last year is the first time I put him on child support.
Okay, so were there any conversations prior to that may have like strayed you away from putting him on child support, or was it more so that you didn't want to deal with all like the hassle and drama that came with it?
Because of where I felt with him and like where our communication was, I didn't feel like it was healthy. He didn't want to sign the birth certificate. I've already said this somewhere to someone, so it's out there, but he didn't want to sign the birth certificate. So at that point, I just felt like I'm not going to chase after something when it's just more stress. Like it was the whole situation was a little bit stressful, relatively. But I didn't want to chase after someone because I knew that I could give her like a community with my family and support and love, especially with how I knew he was. I didn't want to push that anymore. So I always left the door open. I've never not said no for him to meet her. There's never been a time where I said, no, you can't. I've always left that door open, and I've always made it clear the only thing I want from you is your time. And that's to give to your daughter. So if I'm rambling, I'm going to ramble. I know I am. Okay.
No,
Guide
that's
me.
fine. This is a really, really good interview.
So basically, she didn't answer the question. But if she only did it at 2023, I'm gonna say she probably came across some of that content, and that's probably where she was like, she put him on it because of the content she came across and some of the things that he was saying. Because once you start saying certain things, it's kind of like, hey man, chill out. So it's kind of like one of them situations where if you tread lightly, people will leave you alone in the background, but it gets to a point to where what you do or what you say is so egregious that they're like, man, I ain't about to look out for this person. You're not a good person. And when a person starts to feel like that, then they like, man, I might as well go ahead and handle business like I need to handle business, because if this is how you feel and how you think, and this is what you're telling an audience, or this is what I'm hearing you're saying and I'm seeing you say, nah, bro, that ain't what's up.
So you said that you wanted to give her a community because you knew how he was. Can you go into more detail about that? Like, was there anything that he might have said or done that kind of like solidified it for you? Like, oh, okay, well, my daughter would be maybe would be better off without him.
There may have been one moment. There may have been few, but one for sure. But I don't want to get into it because sensitivity.
All right.
But yeah, definitely.
Okay. Did you?
And
have you? Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
Nope. I was gonna ramble.
Have you ever gotten a DNA test? Like, has he agreed to a DNA test?
No, we've never done a DNA test. If the court required it, sure, let's do it. But right. the court never said, hey, he's I think if he when you're served child support papers, I think you can actually I'm not for sure, so please forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think you can actually
and this is one thing that I will say, you do always need to have a paternity test. Regardless what you may think of your woman, how loyal you think she is, that's just fairness on the part of the man to understand and know that's your child. Because even DDG had a conversation with Trippie Redd about a kid he thought was his, and it wasn't. When he got the test, his mom was like, hey, you need to get a test on this kid. Come to find out, it was not his. But knowing him and how he moves, it might be. It might be. Now, I'm not, like I said, I don't put nothing on anybody without proof. It's always going to be alleged until it's just solid, solidified facts that's there, public documentation and all of that confirmed and proven. I always say allegedly, but just the way he moved, it sound like it is.
Contest it and be like, oh, I'm not the child's father, and then they'll require us to do a DNA test. But that was never done.
And he never asked for one personally.
If he did, he never followed through with it.
Okay.
I mean, I would be willing. I know what I know. I know for sure. So
translation, he basically probably mentioned getting a paternity test and never went through with getting it. That's what that sounded like.
I don't need a DNA test, but if you wanted one, sure, that's fine. I don't care.
But he's never.
There was never one done.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know. Another question. Okay, so I know you've been kind of in the shadows for a long time. I want to know what it is exactly about this whole what's been going on recently, or what certain event that has happened recently that made you want to come out and speak?
Well, I wasn't really in the shadows for most of it. Just when the information got leaked, and our picture got put out, and I was like, so then I was like, okay. At first I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it. Excuse my language. At first I was just gonna like, oh, I'm gonna leave it alone, you know. But then curiosity got, it seeped into my brain. So I'm like, oh, let me just look. So then I just see like a lot of people posting about it. And I don't know, I guess I just felt like I needed to just, I wanted to observe, but I also sometimes felt like maybe I can comment here and there. Um, but it was just, I mean, if it never got out, I would have never been here. Because, who wants to be associated with someone?
And yeah, it's not a good look. And on a side note, if you want to look it up on your own time to know and see, okay, that's cool. But like I've even said before, even when knowing about it, I'm not gonna go over there and get them people's pictures. I'm not gonna do all that. If you just want to know if it's true or not, you can go look at it. But don't post people's pictures. Do not post people's kids. Also, don't post anybody's name that's not on the internet actively themselves. All right, leave them off of all of this.
Yeah. Was it a specific video or thing he said that really caught your attention that you can point out?
Well, I will say I very much loathe every single video. Okay, let me rewind. I loathe every stream that he's done where he speaks about children.
I want to put you in the shoes of a mother real quick, because I usually like to give people both sides and a balanced discussion. Just imagine being a woman who has a child and the father of your child is online doing all this. Do you like really just fathom that the father, the alleged father, again we say alleged because if it ain't confirmed by paperwork, by blood work and all of that, I always got to say alleged, that he's online doing all of this. You see the way he's acting, you see the way he's speaking. It's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? And to look and be like, dang man, I reproduce with this person. It's like, golly, man. Like I thought you was better than that. And every year you see more and more and more. Cause like I said, I don't even have as much of the blame of her either. Cause people think that women are the only ones out here being finagly and doing weird stuff. Dudes be out here lying and all of that too. I thought he was cool for a bit. I was like, oh, he funny, he cool. I thought it too. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of times guys get so caught up on this internet stuff. And I tell you, bro, don't get caught up in the hype on all of these channels, because it's not always women's fault, bro. At some point in time, men got to take accountability and responsibility too. It's not always just them. Sometimes they do get lied to. They do. Sometimes a dude, he'll be perfect as ever, and then before you know it, he'll be sitting down with one of the brown sticks in his hand, not wanting to do nothing all day, playing video games, becoming a 2K king. But when she met him, he had 2 jobs, and he was responsible, and he was a nice guy, or he just started drinking and stopped caring about everything and didn't want to do nothing, and then up and left and didn't want to do it no more. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm here for. I want to give you, and some of y'all ain't gonna like it. You might feel some type of way. It is what it is, bro. Both people have wrongs. There's no one side more wrong than the other. But let's go ahead and let it continue.
And, I'm not trying to get emotional. And when he speaks on women, like I've seen a lot of different clips from videos, so I know that they're from different streams. So I know there's been multiple times where he's brought it up. And it angers me because I know what I know. And why would you go there? Why would you even touch that?
And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this point home too. A lot of y'all get on this internet acting like people you not. And it's gonna come up on in time when you're gonna come at the hedge. You're gonna come at that end where the people who really know you and really know what you about, like, hey bro, hold on. Like, I was letting you make it all this time, but now you're going too far. Now you're going too far. You can imitate and fake as much as you want to, but there's gonna come a day when that real gonna come out. Cause you're gonna keep on pushing it. You're gonna keep pushing the line. And that truth gonna rear his head. It's gonna come on up out that closet on you. Pause. It's gonna rear his head. It's gonna be like, hey bro, I didn't heard you talking. This is what's real. I'm here to have a conversation with you because you've been going too far as of late. And remember what I've always said. How people just been letting you make it. You've been making it a long time. You've been skating for a long time. And sometimes in life you could not do the right thing. But it's about the level of how much wrong you do. It's not, a lot of times it ain't even the fact that you've done the wrong thing. It's the fact that you are a habitual line stepper and you just keep crossing the line. That's what happens. If you cross that line and you just be cool and you never even say nothing, you just be like, I'm gonna be cool on that. I ain't even gonna mess with that. Especially when you know it's a red zone in your life, when somebody can pull your card, leave it alone.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you.
You could have left it alone. You could have just moved on.
Woo! What did I just say? It ain't even the fact of what you did. You just didn't leave it alone.
I hope I'm staying on track. There's a lot of videos I don't. It's hard to watch, for sure.
Okay, so knowing that,
even though he doesn't say our names, it's still hard to watch.
I mean, but it's pretty evident what he's alluding to. Because he
right.
You know, it's always about the same thing. So
even if he wasn't trying to, it's still, I know what I know, wrong. And he still says it.
Yeah. So another thing I want to ask is, what is your goal per se, in terms of like, what message do you want to get across, not just to anybody that might not be a troll, but also the trolls and even him if he might so happen to see this, you know?
I think my main hope for all of this in my crusade, I don't even know what my end goal was for any of this, but I do know that I just hope, and I'm begging as a parent to not post her actual picture. I know I've said her name in comments, but please don't use her name in any of the like titles. Just try not to. I just don't want her to be associated.
Well, that'll wrap it up. If you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.